The alley behind the abandoned harbor warehouse smelled of oil and rust. Rain slicked the concrete, turning it into a mirror of the gray night sky. 3 silhouettes emerged from the shadows, their boots crunching against wet gravel. They thought she was just another informant, small, quiet, cornered. They had no idea who she really was. Alara stood with her back to the wall, eyes calm, hands loose at her sides. Her breathing was steady, almost too steady for someone outnumbered. The men spread out, forming a triangle around her. One of them, tall and wearing a leather jacket soaked through by the rain, cracked his knuckles. "End of the line, sweetheart," he said, stepping closer. His voice carried arrogance, the kind that only exists when someone thinks they're in control. Alara didn't move. Her gaze flicked briefly to the left, to the puddle reflecting their positions, to the rusted steel hook hanging from a crane, to the rope coil she had spotted earlier. Her mind was working faster than her pulse. The first man lunged, grabbing her by the throat, slamming her against the wall with enough force to make the metal siding vibrate. The others laughed. Her boots barely touched the ground as he pressed his weight into her windpipe. "Not so tough now, are you?" he sneered. But she didn't struggle. She didn't even gasp. Her expression stayed still, unreadable. Seconds passed. Then 10. Then 20. The man's smirk faded. Her eyes hadn't changed. Not widened, not desperate. Just focused. Something about her calm unnerved him. What the hell? That's when she moved. Her right hand shot up, twisting his wrist in a blur, breaking his grip and reversing the hold. In one motion, she ducked under his arm, slammed her elbow into his ribs, and sent him sprawling into the puddle. Before the second could draw his knife, she swept his legs and drove a knee into his chest. He wheezed as she tore the knife from his grip and flipped it expertly, holding it backwards, seal style. The third hesitated, realizing too late that this wasn't a random woman. Her stance, her timing, her precision, it screamed military training. Elite training. He rushed anyway, shouting something incoherent. She sidestepped, gripped his jacket, and sent him headfirst into the rain barrel. The sound echoed through the alley. Silence followed. She stood there, throat red from the choke, but her breathing was even, controlled. Her chest didn't rise fast, not even after being held like that. It was the kind of breath control that came from years underwater, from being trained to hold for 5-6 minutes while the world above forgot she existed. Alara looked down at the men groaning in the mud. "Rule number 1, she said quietly, voice low but steady, never grab the throat of a Navy SEAL. The harbor police arrived 10 minutes too late. By then, the 3 men were unconscious and bound with the same rope that once hung from the crane. But Alara was gone, vanished into the storm as if the rain had washed her away. Under the pier, the water churned with waves and diesel fumes. Alara's silhouette glided silently between the pilings, her body moving with the rhythm of the tide. The shouts above were muffled, flashlights scanning, boots stomping, men cursing. She was less than a meter below them, unseen. Her lungs burned, but she ignored it. She trained for this, in Blackwater drills where SEALs learned how to disappear. One breath, then silence. 5 minutes underwater wasn't endurance, it was survival. She thought of Coronado, the Bud.S instructors yelling over the surf, "If you panic, you die. If you breathe, you're found." Back then, she was the only woman in her class. Now, under the pier, that discipline was the thin line between her and discovery. A beam of light sliced across the surface, catching a ripple near one of the pylons. A voice barked, "Down there. Check the water." Alara waited, counting heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. Then the splash of a diver dropping in. She saw his silhouette blur above her, distorted by the waves. His flippers brushed the current near her shoulder. She stayed motionless, hands pressed against the rough wood. Her heart slowed deliberately, from 60 to 40 beats per minute. The diver's flashlight swung right past her face, blindingly bright. But he didn't see her, just the reflection of a drifting tarp she had released moments earlier. The trick worked. He surfaced, shouting, "Nothing here." Only then did Alara release her grip, pushing off the beam and gliding silently toward open water. Her chest ached, a deep burning that clawed at her ribs. Still, she didn't rise. She kept her movements slow, deliberate, conserving every bubble of oxygen left in her.